My mother-in-law bought iPhone 17 Pro Max for every grandkid except mine because she's not really family. So I made sure she'd never see any of them again. Hey, Reddit. My mother-in-law deliberately excluded my daughter from a family gift because she's adopted. So I cut her off from the entire family. What followed was absolute chaos. Here's the whole story. I'm Elsie, 34 female, married to my husband, Jack, 35 male, for 9 years now. We've got one daughter, Lily, who's 7 years old. We adopted her when she was 6 months old after years of fertility struggles that I'm not going to get into, because that's not what this story is about. Jack's mom, let's call her Patricia, has always been one of those women who thinks her opinion matters more than anyone else's. You know the type. The kind who shows up to your house unannounced and rearranges your kitchen cabinets because they'd be more efficient this way. The kind who gives unsolicited parenting advice while her own kids turned out to be disasters. Patricia's got 3 kids total. Jack is the oldest and most successful by far. He's a civil engineer making 6 figures, bought our house at 28, and generally has his life together. Then there's Jack's brother, Jason, who's 31 and works in sales. Nice enough guy, but pretty average. Finally, there's the youngest, Jack's sister, Amanda, who's 26 and works part-time at a salon while her husband pays most of their bills. Now here's where it gets relevant. Jason has 2 kids, ages 9 and 11. Amanda has 1 kid who's 5. All biological, all from perfect textbook pregnancies that Patricia won't shut up about at family gatherings. When Jack and I started the adoption process, Patricia made her feelings pretty clear from the start. Nothing direct enough to call her out on, just little comments here and there. Are you sure about this? What if the biological parents come back? You know, sometimes these fertility issues resolve themselves if you just relax and stop trying so hard. That last one really got under Jack's skin. We'd been trying for 5 years. 5 years of disappointment, medical appointments, invasive procedures, and mounting debt from treatments that didn't work. And Patricia's brilliant medical advice was to just relax. Like we hadn't heard that from every aunt and distant cousin who thought they were being helpful. When we finally got matched with Lily, we were over the moon. This perfect little 6-month-old with these huge brown eyes and the sweetest smile you've ever seen. The adoption agency called us on a Tuesday. We met her that Friday, and she was ours by the following month. Jack cried for like an hour straight when we brought her home. Happy tears, the kind that make you realize your life just changed forever in the best possible way. Patricia's reaction when we introduced baby Lily? Oh, she's lovely. Will you keep her original name or change it? Not congratulations or she's beautiful or literally anything a normal grandmother would say. Just this weird clinical question about her name, like we'd adopted a puppy. We named her Lily Rebecca. Patricia never commented on that either. The first 7 years of Lily's life, Patricia maintained this bizarre emotional distance that everyone in the family noticed, but nobody wanted to address directly. She'd show up to Lily's birthday parties, but spend the whole time fawning over Jason's kids or Amanda's kid. She'd buy Christmas presents for all the grandkids, but Lily's gifts were always noticeably cheaper or less thoughtful. One year, Jason's older kid got this amazing remote control car that cost probably $200. His younger kid got a tablet. Amanda's kid got a mountain of art supplies. Lily got a $20 Target gift card. Jack noticed. I noticed. Even Lily started noticing around age 5 when she was old enough to compare her gifts to her cousins. But what were we supposed to do? Call out a grandmother for not loving our kid enough? That's not a conversation anyone wants to have. We tried addressing it indirectly. Jack would mention how Lily loved spending time with Grandma Patricia and hoped they could have more one-on-one time together. Patricia would agree enthusiastically, then never follow through. She'd take Jason's kids to the zoo or Amanda's kid for ice cream, but somehow never had time for Lily. The breaking point came 3 weeks ago during what was supposed to be a nice family dinner at Patricia's house. Patricia had invited everyone over, all 3 of her kids, plus their spouses, and all the grandkids. These dinners happen maybe once a month, usually to celebrate something, or just because Patricia liked having everyone together to remind herself she'd successfully reproduced. We showed up around 5 p.m. on a Saturday. The other families were already there, kids running around in the backyard while the adults hung out in the kitchen. Pretty standard setup. About 20 minutes after we arrived, Patricia called all the grandkids into the living room. She had this huge smile on her face, like she was about to reveal she'd won the lottery. I have something special for my precious grandchildren, she announced, pulling out a shopping bag from behind the couch. One by one, she handed out boxes. iPhone 17 Pro Max boxes, the newest model that had just come out, running about $200 each. Jason's 2 kids got one. Amanda's kid got one, even though she was only 5 years old and had absolutely no business with a $1,200 phone. Lily stood there waiting her turn, bouncing on her feet with excitement because she'd seen her cousins getting these amazing gifts and naturally assumed she was getting one too. Patricia handed out the last phone to Amanda's 5-year-old, then turned to the adults and started talking about the phone plans she'd set up. Lily just stood there confused. At 7 years old, she couldn't quite process what was happening. She looked at Jack, then at me, then back at Patricia. "Grandma Patricia," Lily said quietly, "did you forget mine?" The room went completely silent. Patricia looked down at Lily with this fake apologetic smile that made my blood pressure spike. "Oh, sweetheart, these are for my grandchildren. You understand, right?" Jack's face went white. I literally watched the color drain from his cheeks. "Mom," he said, voice shaking, "Lily is your grandchild." Patricia waved her hand dismissively. "You know what I mean, Jack. These are for my real grandchildren, the ones who are actually family." She said it so casually, like she was explaining why she bought chocolate instead of vanilla, not like she'd just told a 7-year-old child she wasn't really part of the family. Lily burst into tears. Jack scooped her up immediately, and I saw something in him break. "We're leaving," he said. We walked out without another word. Jason and Amanda didn't say anything. Their spouses didn't say anything. They all just stood there, watching us leave while their kids played with their new phones, completely oblivious to the fact that their grandmother had just psychologically damaged their cousin. The drive home was brutal. Jack stared straight ahead, gripping the steering wheel, jaw clenched so tight I thought his teeth might crack. I kept my hand on Lily's knee in the back seat, trying to soothe her while she cried herself out in the car seat. My own eyes were burning, but I forced myself not to cry until later. That night, after we'd gotten Lily calmed down and settled in bed, Jack and I had a long conversation about what to do next. "I can't believe she did that," Jack kept saying, pacing around our bedroom. "I can't believe my own mother would hurt Lily like that in front of everyone, in front of the other kids." "What do you want to do?" I asked. "I want to never speak to her again," Jack said immediately. Then he paused. "But I don't know if I can actually do that. She's my mom, and Jason and Amanda are still going to those family dinners. And Lily's going to wonder why her cousins get to see Grandma, but she doesn't. Here's the thing about my husband. He's one of those people who always tries to see the best in everyone, even when they don't deserve it. He'd been making excuses for Patricia's behavior toward Lily for 7 years, convincing himself it would get better, that Patricia just needed time to adjust to having an adopted grandchild. But I was done with excuses. "Jack," I said carefully, "your mother just told our daughter that she's not really family. In front of everyone. She bought $1,000 phones for kids who don't even need them and deliberately excluded Lily because she's adopted. That's not something you come back from." "I know," he whispered. "I know, but what am I supposed to do? Cut off my own mother? If she can't treat our daughter with basic human decency? Yeah, that's exactly what you do." We stayed up until 2 a.m., talking it through. Jack went back and forth between wanting to completely cut Patricia off and wanting to give her one more chance to apologize and make it right. I knew what was going to happen if we gave her that chance. Patricia would offer some non-apology like, "I'm sorry you were upset," without actually acknowledging what she'd done wrong. Then she'd expect everything to go back to normal, and we'd be right back where we started. By the time we finally went to bed, Jack had agreed that we needed to set some serious boundaries. No more family dinners at Patricia's house. No more unsupervised time with Lily. And Patricia needed to understand exactly why we were putting those boundaries in place. The next morning, Patricia called. Jack didn't answer. She called again an hour later. Again, no answer. Then the texts started coming in. First from Patricia, then from Jason, then from Amanda. All variations of "you're overreacting," and "she didn't mean it that way," and "family is important, don't throw it away over a misunderstanding." Misunderstanding. Like there was some way to misunderstand, "these are for my real grandchildren." Jack finally responded to Patricia with a text message. "What you said to Lily was cruel and unacceptable. Until you can apologize to her directly and acknowledge that she is your grandchild, your real grandchild, we won't be attending any more family events." Patricia's response came 10 minutes later. I will not be apologizing for speaking the truth. She's not my biological grandchild, and everyone knows it. You're being ridiculous and teaching her to be entitled." That was it. The final nail in the coffin of any relationship between Patricia and our family. Jack showed me the text, and I watched his face harden in a way I'd never seen before. This was the man who'd spent 9 years trying to have his mother's approval, who'd bent over backwards to accommodate Patricia's opinions and preferences, who'd made excuses for years of subtle favoritism. And in one text message, Patricia had burned that bridge completely. "We're done," Jack said. "I'm done. She'll never meet our next child. She'll never be alone with Lily again. And I'm not going to any family events if she's there." "What next child?" I asked, confused, since we'd agreed we were one and done with the adoption. "We're going to adopt again," Jack said firmly. "Maybe 2 more kids if we can afford it. And Patricia will never meet any of them. She wants real grandchildren? Fine. She can focus on the ones she has. Mine will never have to feel that rejection." I loved my husband more in that moment than I had in years. Over the next week, we ignored every message and call from Patricia's side of the family. Jason tried to play peacemaker, suggesting we all sit down and talk it out like adults. Amanda sent this long guilt trip message about how family is forever, and we can't let one disagreement tear everyone apart. Jack's response to both of them was simple. "Mom told my daughter she's not real family and bought expensive gifts for your kids while deliberately excluding mine. If you think that's acceptable behavior, then we don't have anything to talk about." Neither of them responded to that. 2 weeks after the iPhone incident, we got an invitation to Jason's older kid's birthday party at Patricia's house, like nothing had happened. Jack called Jason directly for the first time since we'd walked out. "Is Mom going to be at the party?" he asked. "Well, yeah, it's at her house," Jason replied, like that was obvious. "Then we won't be there." "Come on, Jack. You can't keep avoiding her forever. Just apologize and move on." "Apologize?" Jack's voice went ice cold. "Apologize for what, exactly?" "For making such a big deal out of nothing. Mom feels bad about the whole phone thing. If she feels bad, she can call Lily and apologize to her directly. Until then, we're not coming to any events where she'll be present." "You're being unreasonable," Jason said. "The kids miss each other." "Then you're welcome to bring them to our house any time, but I'm not exposing Lily to someone who thinks she's not real family." Jason hung up on him. The birthday party came and went without us. We took Lily to an amusement park that day instead, just the 3 of us. She had a great time riding the kiddie roller coasters and eating overpriced theme park food. She didn't ask about her cousins once. That's when Patricia started playing dirty. She began posting on social media about how heartbroken she was that some family members were choosing to hold grudges instead of forgiving and moving forward. How she'd made one small mistake and was being punished with the silent treatment by her own son. How important family is, and how sad it made her to be excluded from her grandchildren's lives. One of her posts literally said, "When you raise your children with love and they turn around and take your grandchildren away over a misunderstanding, it breaks your heart. Praying for reconciliation." Jack's friends and some extended family started sending him screenshots of these posts, asking what happened. Some of them sided with Patricia at first, saying Jack should be the bigger person and forgive his mother. Others understood immediately and sent messages of support. The ones who sided with Patricia got a detailed explanation of what had actually happened. Not a misunderstanding or a small mistake, but a deliberate act of cruelty toward a 7-year-old child. Most of them changed their tune pretty quickly after that. But Patricia's social media campaign had an effect. Extended family members started reaching out, trying to mediate. Jack's aunts and uncles, his cousins, even his late father's siblings, who Patricia barely spoke to normally. All of them got the same message. Patricia told Lily she's not her real grandchild while giving expensive gifts to all the other grandkids. If she apologizes to Lily directly and acknowledges that she was wrong, we'll consider rebuilding a relationship. Until then, we're protecting our daughter from emotional abuse. Most of them stopped trying to mediate after that. A few of the older relatives tried the "but she's your mother" guilt trip, which Jack shut down immediately. "Being someone's mother doesn't give you the right to hurt their children," he told his Aunt Margaret during a particularly heated phone call. "If my own mother can't treat my daughter with basic respect, then she doesn't get access to her. It's that simple." 3 weeks after the incident, Patricia showed up at our house unannounced. It was a Saturday morning, and Jack and I were making breakfast while Lily watched cartoons in the living room. The doorbell rang, and we both assumed it was a package. Jack went to answer it, and there she was, standing on our porch, holding a wrapped present and wearing her best church outfit like she was about to attend a funeral. "I'd like to speak with Jack," she said formally. "He doesn't want to talk to you," I replied, stepping into the doorway beside him before he could say anything. "This is between me and my son. You have no right to keep us apart." "Actually, I have every right to decide who comes into my house," I said, "and you're not welcome here." Patricia's composed expression cracked slightly. "I'm his mother, and you told my granddaughter she's not real family, so no, you don't get to show up here and demand anything." "I brought a gift for Lily, an apology gift." "She doesn't want your gifts. She wanted to be treated like the rest of your grandchildren, and you couldn't even do that." Jack appeared fully in the doorway then, shoulders stiff. "What do you want, Mom?" he asked flatly. "I came to apologize," Patricia said, holding up the wrapped gift. "I bought Lily an iPhone, too. I realized I made a mistake, and I want to make it right." Here's the thing about too little too late apologies. They're worse than no apology at all, because they show that the person knows exactly what they did wrong, but only cares about fixing it when they face consequences. "You think you can show up here with a phone and everything's fine?" Jack asked. "I'm trying to make amends," Patricia said defensively. "Isn't that what you wanted?" "What I wanted," Jack said quietly, "was for you to treat my daughter like your grandchild from the start. What I wanted was for you to not deliberately exclude her from a family gift in front of everyone. What I wanted was for you to not tell a 7-year-old child that she's not real family." "I didn't say that," Patricia protested. "Yes, you did," I cut in. "You said the phones were for your real grandchildren. Everyone heard you." "I misspoke. I meant my other grandchildren. It came out wrong." "No, Mom," Jack said. "You meant exactly what you said. You've been treating Lily differently since the day we adopted her. The cheaper Christmas gifts, the forgotten birthdays, the fact that you take Jason's and Amanda's kids on special outings but never invite Lily. I've been making excuses for you for 7 years, but I'm done." Patricia's face went red. "I've tried with that child. It's not my fault we don't have a connection." "That child has a name," I said. "And the reason you don't have a connection is because you've never tried. You decided the day we adopted her that she wasn't really your grandchild, and you've treated her accordingly." "She's not my blood," Patricia snapped, finally dropping the polite facade. "I'm sorry, but that matters. It matters to me. I can't help how I feel." "Then we can't help how we feel about you being in our lives," Jack said quietly. "Goodbye, Mom." He closed the door. Patricia stood on our porch for another 5 minutes, knocking and calling out Jack's name. We ignored her until she finally left. That afternoon, Jack's phone blew up with messages from Jason and Amanda, furious that we'd turned Patricia away when she was trying to apologize. According to them, we were being stubborn and cruel, punishing their mother for an honest mistake and tearing the family apart. Jack's response to the family group chat was measured but firm. "Mom came here today not to genuinely apologize, but to try to buy her way back into our lives with a gift. She admitted to my face that she can't connect with Lily because she's not her blood. She called her that child instead of using her name. This isn't about holding grudges. It's about protecting our daughter from someone who has made it very clear she'll never accept her as real family. If you want to maintain a relationship with us and Lily, you're welcome to do so. But we will not be attending any events where Mom is present, and she is not welcome in our home." Jason responded, "This is ridiculous. She's your mother." Amanda added, "You're being so dramatic over a phone." Jack replied one final time, "This isn't about a phone. This is about 7 years of favoritism and emotional neglect toward my daughter, culminating in her being told she's not real family. If you can't understand why that's unacceptable, then we don't have anything else to discuss." He muted the group chat after that. Over the next month, things settled into a new normal. Patricia continued her social media martyrdom campaign, painting herself as the victim of an ungrateful son who'd taken away her grandchildren over one mistake. Some people believed her version. Most people who knew the real story didn't. Jason and Amanda stopped trying to mediate after a few weeks. They continued attending Patricia's family dinners with their kids, posting happy family photos that conspicuously excluded us. Jack would see these photos, and I'd watch him process the emotions. Hurt that his siblings chose their mother's comfort over supporting him, relief that we weren't subjecting Lily to that environment anymore, sadness over losing the family he'd grown up with. "Do you think we did the right thing?" he asked me one night after seeing a photo of Patricia with all the grandkids except Lily at some restaurant. "Absolutely," I said without hesitation. "You protected our daughter from someone who was hurting her. That's exactly what good parents do." But what if Lily grows up and resents me for keeping her from her grandmother? If she grows up and we explain that we kept her away from someone who told her she wasn't real family, who treated her worse than her cousins, who couldn't love her the way she deserved, she's going to thank you. Jack nodded, but I could tell part of him still struggled with the guilt of cutting off his own mother. The real turning point came about 6 weeks after the iPhone incident. Jack's friend Casey, who'd known Patricia for years through various social circles, called with some interesting information. Apparently, Patricia had been telling people at her church group that Jack and I adopted Lily specifically to hurt her, that we'd chosen adoption over continued fertility treatments because Jack wanted to punish Patricia for not being supportive enough during the process, that we were using Lily as a weapon. The story was insane, obviously, but Patricia was telling it to anyone who would listen, painting herself as the victim of our cruel manipulation, while simultaneously refusing to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, telling a 7-year-old she's not real family was wrong. Casey had heard this at a church potluck and immediately called Jack to warn him that Patricia was spreading these stories. She'd even told people that we were keeping Lily from her real grandmother out of spite, not because Patricia had done anything wrong. She's completely rewritten the narrative, Casey said. Everyone at church thinks you're some horrible son who adopted a child just to exclude your mother from her life. It's wild. Jack thanked Casey for the heads up, then sat quietly for a long time, processing this new information. She's never going to admit she was wrong, he finally said. She's never going to apologize to Lily. She's never going to see her as a real grandchild. This is who she is. Yeah, I agreed softly. That's who she is. So we're really done, Jack said. This isn't temporary. She's just not in our lives anymore. Are you okay with that? Jack thought about it for a moment, then nodded. Yeah, I think I am. It hurts, but I'm okay with it. Lily deserves better than someone who sees her as less than because we adopted her. And honestly, I deserve better too. I've spent my whole life trying to be good enough for my mom, trying to make her proud, trying to live up to whatever impossible standards she set, and she still chose to hurt my child. So yeah, we're done. That conversation marked the real end of their relationship, not the dramatic walkout, not the slammed door, not the blocked phone calls. This quiet acceptance was the true end, the recognition that Patricia would never be the grandmother Lily deserved. And that was okay, because we would protect Lily from that disappointment. 2 months after the iPhone incident, our lives began settling into a peaceful rhythm again. Lily stopped asking about Grandma Patricia within a few weeks. Whenever she did ask, the questions were casual, not sad. She'd say things like, "Does Grandma Patricia still live at the yellow house?" Or, "Does she still have that cat?" Never once did she ask why Patricia wasn't around. It was like her little brain had instinctively figured out that Patricia wasn't a safe person. We made sure her world was filled with people who adored her. My family, who treated Lily like royalty. Jack's close friends, who loved her as if she were biologically ours. School friends. Playdates. Teachers who doted on her. She was surrounded by the love Patricia had refused to give. During this time, Jack and I started seriously discussing expanding our family through adoption again. Like he'd mentioned that first night, we'd always talked about maybe having 2 kids, maybe 3 if life allowed it. But after the Patricia situation, Jack became determined. I want Lily to have a sibling who understands, he explained. Someone who gets what it means to be adopted, who gets the questions, the feelings, the identity stuff, someone who knows what it's like. And, he added, I want Patricia to know that we're building our own family without her. We started the adoption process for a second child. This time, much more confident, much less naive. Our caseworker remembered us from Lily's adoption and helped streamline some of the early steps. 4 months after cutting Patricia off, we got our home study approved and were officially placed on the waiting list for a matching child. We didn't tell Patricia, we didn't tell Jason, we didn't tell Amanda. This was our family, our decision. They had forfeited the right to be part of these moments. Jack's friends threw us a tiny celebration dinner when our home study was approved. Lily found out she might become a big sister and started practicing by reading bedtime stories to her stuffed animals. Everything felt right. About 4 months after going no contact, everything changed again. It was a Thursday evening. I was folding laundry while Jack finished up work on his laptop. Lily was in the living room drawing pictures of our future family, as she called it, stick figures of herself holding hands with a shorter stick figure who would someday be her sibling. Then Jack's phone rang. It was Amanda. He almost didn't answer, but something in him hesitated. He picked up. Jack, Amanda said immediately. No greeting, no softness. Mom's in the hospital. She had a heart attack. Jack froze. Despite everything, despite the hurt, the betrayal, the cruelty, this was still his mother. Is she okay? Jack asked, voice tight. She's stable, Amanda said. She had surgery, but she's been asking for you. Jack looked at me, torn between instinct and boundaries. Between the son he used to be and the father he'd become. I need to think about it, Jack said. I'll call you back. He hung up, ran a hand through his hair, and sat heavily beside me on the couch. This wasn't a decision he could make lightly. This wasn't a situation with obvious answers. What do I do? He whispered. If you go, I said gently, she'll think everything is forgiven. I know. And she'll absolutely expect things to go back to normal. I know. And she still hasn't apologized to Lily. Silence. Then, what if she dies, Elsie? Jack said quietly. What if I don't see her again? What if this is my last chance? Your last chance to do what? I asked softly. Listen to her not apologize again? Hear her rewrite the story again? Watch her twist your love into guilt again? He swallowed hard. You've given her so many chances, Jack, I said, and she's wasted every one. Jack closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he looked calmer. Resolved. He called Amanda back. I'll come to the hospital, he said, but Lily's not coming, and this doesn't mean we're reconciling. I want to make sure she's okay, but nothing has changed about our boundaries. Fine, Amanda said. Just come. Jack went to the hospital that evening. I stayed home with Lily, who was blissfully unaware of the emotional earthquake happening across town as she watched cartoons with a bowl of popcorn. Jack came home 3 hours later looking exhausted. How is she? I asked. Stable, he said. They think she'll recover. She'll need a few weeks. Did she ask about Lily? She did, Jack said. Said she missed her granddaughter and wanted to see her. I stiffened. And what did you say? I said Lily wasn't there. And then? He let out a bitter laugh. She got upset and said I was keeping her grandchildren from her when she could have died. Her grandchildren, plural, I noted. Yeah, that's what I said. Jack sank onto the couch. So I asked her, is Lily your grandchild now, after months of saying she wasn't real family? And? She denied it, said she never said that, said I was exaggerating what happened. Of course. Then she tried to guilt me, Jack said. Said I'd abandoned her, said I was being a bad son. What did you do? I told her I wasn't rehashing the past. I just wanted to make sure she was okay. Then I told her to call when she was ready to actually apologize to Lily, and then I left. And how do you feel? I asked softly. Jack looked at me. Relieved, he said. I thought maybe the heart attack would have changed something, made her realize life's too short to die on this hill. But she's exactly the same, so now I know for sure we made the right choice. Patricia was released from the hospital a week later. She moved into Jason's house temporarily during her recovery since she couldn't manage stairs well yet, and his house was single-story. During this time, Jason tried one more time to get Jack to reconcile with their mother. He called and left a long voicemail about how Patricia was getting older, how family was important, how this grudge was hurting everyone. Jack texted back, It's not a grudge, it's a boundary. Mom hurt my daughter and refuses to acknowledge it. Until she genuinely apologizes to Lily and commits to treating her like the rest of her grandchildren, we're done. You can accept that or not. That's your choice, but this isn't up for debate anymore. Jason didn't respond. 6 months after the iPhone incident, Jack and I completed the home study for our second adoption. We were approved and placed on the waiting list for a child match. We didn't tell anyone from Jack's family about it. Not Jason, not Amanda, definitely not Patricia. This was our family's future, and they had no right to be involved after everything that had happened. Jack's close friends threw us a small celebration. Lily was thrilled that she might become a big sister and began practicing by helping me with things around the house, narrating everything like she was already mentoring her future younger sibling. That was the support we needed. Not guilt, not manipulation, not conditional love disguised as tradition or family loyalty. Just love, pure and simple. About 7 months after the iPhone incident, something happened that threw gasoline on Patricia's already flaming sense of victimhood. We got matched. A 4-year-old boy named Cooper. He'd been in foster care for most of his life. He'd had a rough start, but every report described him as smart, observant, and incredibly resilient. The caseworker said he lit up around caregivers who gave him one-on-one attention. Lily's age difference with him was perfect for sibling dynamics. We met him 3 weeks later and immediately knew he was ours. He was shy at first, but warmed up quickly. especially with Lily, who showed him her favorite toys and taught him how to draw hearts and stars. By the end of the visit, he was curled up next to her on the rug like they'd known each other forever. The adoption process moved faster than it had with Lily since Cooper was already in state custody. Within 2 months, he was living with us full-time. The finalization hearing was already scheduled. We didn't announce anything publicly. We didn't tell Jack's side of the family. We didn't even post new pictures of the kids online. Not because we were hiding anything, because it wasn't their business. Our family expanded because we chose it, not because Patricia approved or disapproved. But small towns have enormous mouths, and Patricia eventually found out through mutual acquaintances who had seen us out with both kids. That was the night everything exploded again. Patricia called Jack's phone 7 times within an hour. He ignored each call. Finally, when she called for the 8th time in a row, he exhaled, set the phone on speaker, and answered. "Why would you adopt another child and not tell me?" Patricia shrieked. No greeting, no warmth, just immediate outrage. Jack's voice was cold. "Why would I tell you? You adopted a boy and never once thought to involve me? I deserve to know." "You made it very clear Lily wasn't real family," Jack said. "Why would I introduce you to another child you'd treat like garbage?" "That's not what I said." "That is exactly what you said," Jack replied. "And you've had 8 months to apologize. You didn't." "I am their grandmother." "No," Jack said simply. "You're Jason and Amanda's kids' grandmother. Those are the grandchildren you consider real. Focus on them." "You can't keep my grandchildren from me." "They're not your grandchildren," Jack said, voice calm, steady. "You made that clear. Goodbye." He hung up and blocked her number. The fallout was immediate. Patricia went nuclear. She called Jason and Amanda, crying and wailing about how we'd replaced Lily with this new child just to spite her. She posted long, dramatic paragraphs on Facebook about being erased from her grandchildren's lives. She even implied that I manipulated Jack into adopting children to punish the family. Jason called Jack furious. "You embarrassed Mom," he said. "How could you adopt another kid without telling us?" Jack said, "Why would I tell you? You didn't stand up for Lily. You didn't defend her. You watched Mom humiliate her and said nothing. That wasn't my place." "Yes, it was," Jack snapped. "It was exactly your place, and you chose silence." Jack hung up. Then Amanda tried. "You should have included Mom," she texted. "She deserved to know." Jack's reply was short. "She lost the right to be in our children's lives." Amanda sent 3 paragraphs of guilt-tripping nonsense about blood family and forgiveness. Jack didn't respond. Over the next month, Cooper settled beautifully into our home. Lily adored him. They shared toys, giggled nonstop, chased each other in the backyard, and fell asleep listening to bedtime stories side by side. Our house felt whole, peaceful, ours. During this time, Jack heard from exactly none of his family members, not even on his birthday. It was clear Jason and Amanda had chosen Patricia, and it was equally clear that we'd made the right choice for our children. 8 months after the iPhone disaster, the final piece of drama arrived in the mail. A handwritten letter from Patricia. 3 pages. The entire thing was emotional manipulation, self-pity, selective memory, and biblical-level martyrdom. She said she'd been punished unfairly. She said Jack had abandoned his mother. She said she had forgiven us for overreacting. Not once did she apologize to Lily. Not once did she say she regretted calling Lily not real family. Not once did she acknowledge her actions. Jack read the letter, folded it neatly, and put it in a drawer. "She still doesn't get it," he said. A month after that, Cooper's adoption was finalized. We invited my parents, our closest friends, Lily's teacher, who had become a huge support system. We did not invite Patricia. We did not invite Jason or Amanda. And you know what? It was perfect. Just us and the people who loved our children without conditions. On the courthouse steps, Lily grabbed Cooper's hand and shouted, "We're real brother and sister now!" And I swear, Jack's heart just melted into a puddle right there. We took family photos. We got ice cream. We celebrated the future, not the past. And we never looked back. Present day, almost a year after the iPhone incident, our family of 4 is thriving. Lily is 8 now, happy and confident. Cooper is blossoming. We spend holidays with my family and our chosen family of friends. We take trips, we laugh, we live. Jack talks to Jason maybe once a month. Surface level, nothing deep. He hasn't spoken to Amanda since the night Patricia found out about Cooper. Patricia still posts vague quotes about toxic children and losing grandchildren because of jealous daughters-in-law. but it doesn't touch us anymore. She's background noise. Lily occasionally asks about Grandma Patricia, but it's rare, and when she does, the questions are soft, distant, like she's asking about a neighbor we used to live near. She never wonders if she's real family, because in this home, she knows she is. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories.